Hey everybody, I'm getting ready to make some hoe cakes, and I thought, well, I'll just make a little video because some people don't know what hoe cakes are. We can't assume that everybody is from southern United States because there's people, there's a lady in Australia who didn't know what hoe cakes were, might not even know what cornbread is because they probably don't have, they just don't eat it there like we do. But this is something, if you want to make it, basically what a hoe cake is it's kind of like a fried cornbread. It's like a cornbread pancake, I guess you could call it. I don't know. Used to, when southern people, like if you you had time, people would make what they called a pone of cornbread. They'd make up the batter and pour it out in the pan and bake it. But if you were kind of in a hurry and you wanted to get, and certain foods are better with hoe cakes too. It's a different texture. The cornbread has a different texture when you cook it like a pancake. And some people used to really put a lot of oil or grease in theirs, but now I don't do that. I don't like them real greasy. I want just enough oil in my Teflon skillet to cook it. That's it. I don't want it greasy, but some people like them that way. And I'm not putting anybody else's down, this is just the way I fix them. I'm going to measure things today to kind of help you see what to do. Now, I won't measure everything. The first thing you're going to need, though, is you're going to need some self-rising cornmeal mix. I keep mine in a container like this. I buy a 5-pound bag of White Lily. I like White Lily cornmeal mix. Now, you're going to use 2 cups of cornmeal mix. Let me get mine, see if I can get mine up here. Okay, 2 cups. Now, let me put my lid back on it so I don't get anything in it. Because you don't want to get anything wet in your meal because it will mold. It's just like any other type of grain. If you get water in it, it's going to mold. Now, you don't have to put any flour in this, but I like a little extra because it's already got flour in it. This is just about a tablespoon of self-rising flour. Okay? And I'll put that back in there. Now let me put my meal and my flour back up in the cupboard because I don't have a whole lot of room right here in my little kitchen. Okay, now you can see I've got my meal and my flour right there. Now you can either use buttermilk or you can use sweet milk to do this. Just regular milk that you drink. 2% milk, whole milk, whatever you've got. Now, you are going to need a tablespoon of sugar. I put a tablespoon of sugar in mine. Whoop, that ain't going to work because I'm using a slotted spoon. I like a slotted spoon to mix up things like this because it helps the batter get mixed up better. Now, I don't put a whole lot, just like that. And you're going to need 1 egg. Let me see if I can crank you down here so you can watch me. Okay. You just need a large egg. I'm still saving my shells for my friends, so now let me get my milk out. Today I'm going to use just regular milk. Now if you want a fluffier hoe cake, use buttermilk. Now a lot of times I will put milk like this and then I'll add a little water to it. There is such a thing called water cornbread. People make it, some people like just, it's called hot water cornbread. I never was too crazy about the hot water cornbread. I just like regular old cornbread. And we're going to stir this up like this. Now, I'm going to add just a little bit of water to mine. And I'm not measuring this because it's always a little different every time. But what you want is you want it to be the consistency of about like pancake batter. Needs just a tad bit more. So I'm going to put that in there. Okay, now you can see how it looks. Okay, now let me get you over here where I can get my pan. We're going to get my pans. Let me get my spatula, though. I need my spatula. I get my spatula out here. I'm cooking some green beans over here, if you all wonder what I'm doing. I'm fixing some green beans. And I cut up a big onion in them and put them over here, and I let them cook slow. They're canned green beans. They're Del Monte green beans. But I put an onion in with them. I let them cook really slow. And then when they're almost done, I cut up some potatoes and quarter them and put on top of them and let them cook. That's just a southern thing, green beans and potatoes. And most of you all, if you live in Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, places like that, you know what I'm talking about. Now I'm going to put about a tablespoon of oil, I guess. And I let it go around. You want to get your skillet kind of hot. You don't want it, beaming hot, but you want it hot, so when you put it in, you hear that little sizzle, okay? And you don't cook them very long. You cook them about a minute on each side. It doesn't take very long at all. I'm going to let my skillet kind of heat up here just a little bit. And then I'm going to put some cornbread batter in there. These are really good. These are more moist, I guess, than baked cornbread. A lot of people, like my neighbor over here, Mary Alice, Mary Alice loves Hoecakes. She likes Hoecakes better than she does the baked cornbread. And I like baked cornbread if I'm going to crumble it up in soup or pinto beans or potato soup or something like that. Now, I like that better. But if I'm eating it with food like this, sometimes I like Hoecakes. And I love Hoecakes in the summertime with sliced tomatoes and, onions and things like that. Okay, now I'm going to turn my skillet down a little bit. And what you're going to do is you're just going to pour out enough. Okay, can you hear it sizzling? And then you're going to kind of spread it out a little bit there. I might have to add just a little bit more water. Sometimes your batter thickens up. And I can usually get about 3 Hoecakes in this little skillet. And that's what I do. I just put 3 Hoecakes in here. And sometimes I'll do like this and let my grease kind of go around to where it gets on all of them. Then I'm going to turn that down a little bit. Uh-oh. Knocked my dish towel off. Now, let me scoot you up just a little bit where I can get you down here just a tad. Now, it doesn't take very long for these to... When you start seeing little bubbles on top, like you do with pancakes, you cook them kind of like a pancake. And the reason you don't want to cook them too fast is because if you cook them too fast, they'll be burned on the outside and raw in the middle. And you don't want to do that. You want them to cook kind of slow. Once your skillet gets hot, turn it down. Okay? I sometimes will look at the bottoms. This one, I think, is ready to turn. Got it a little browner than I like. Sometimes it's hard to get your spatula under these little boogers. And then you just let it cook on this side for a few minutes and you got a Hoecake. And some people like them with, somebody was saying the other night they put syrup on one. I know people that like honey and syrup on these anyway, even though they know they're cornbread. They still like them that way. They eat them more like a pancake than they do cornbread. And that's okay if that's the way you want to do it. Doesn't matter. Eat them however you want to. But it's a good thing to try. Try you some of them. See what you think about them. So now you all know how to make a Hoecake. It's not anything hard to do. It's just, learning how to make the batter up. I will probably put just a little bit more water in my batter because sometimes when your batter sits for a minute, it thickens up. And one thing you don't want is real thick batter to do this. You kind of want a thin batter, like pancake batter. Yeah, mine thickened up quite a bit there. So, let me get a plate over here and take up my hoe cakes. Okay. Now, these are done. And I'll just set them. See, you can, they're they just look like a pancake, kind of. And usually I don't get mine that dark. Now, some people probably like them that dark. I know Robert's mom does. She likes her bread burned almost. I don't like it burned, but, you know, I like it golden brown, I'll say. And let's see. There we go. You just kind of pour it out there and let your oil kind of run around all of it. And then when they're done, you got some cornbread. Hoecakes. So I will get off here and let you all go. And this is just a short little tutorial about making a hoe cake. Just remember, 2 cups of self-rising cornmeal mix. I use white lily flour and white lily. And I know a lot of you all may not be able to get that. So just use whatever kind of cornmeal mix that you're used to buying or that you have available to you. A tablespoon of flour, a tablespoon of sugar, 1 egg, and enough milk and water or buttermilk and water to make up the consistency of pancake batter. Now, let me see how this one looks. This is more like I like mine. I'll show you here in just a second. That's more like I like mine. I like a golden brown. I don't like them burnt. And Robert doesn't either. He likes his bread almost doughy, if you know what I'm talking about. But, you know, I'll eat it. So, you all have a good evening. Bye, everybody. Hey, guys, I wanted to show you, before I finished, I made the last in just a one big hoe cake. If you don't want to make the little pancakes like that, you can make a bigger one like this. You can just make it like that. That's what I do sometimes. This is not hardly dark enough on this side, so I'm going to turn it back over. But this is how much that 2 cups of cornmeal made. The one in the skillet and all of these. So if you don't need this much, 1 cup, you know, if you're going to make just 1 cup, though, you might want to have some medium eggs on hand and or a large. I think either one would be fine. And just you could use the same amount of sugar and the same amount of flour. It wouldn't hurt anything. Just, you know, use a cup of cornmeal if you don't need that much. But now, these are really good. I'm going to turn my stove off. These are really good. Once they cool down, put them in a big Ziploc bag, put them in the refrigerator. You can take them out, warm them up in the microwave just a little bit. Don't overwarm them because they'll get tough. But just warm them enough, you know, about 10 seconds, 15 seconds till they get done. And you can eat them all week long. I do the same thing here. I do this all the time. I make extra. I put it in the refrigerator, and then Robert will come in here some nights, and he'll get 2 or 3 pieces of baked cornbread like I made. He'll put butter on it, put it in the microwave, and heat it up a little bit, and that's the way we do it. So, make you some hoe cakes, guys.